Tell it as it is, with your hosts, Leon George and Leary McRae.
Real talk, real issues.
Welcome, and a special good night, good evening to all our listeners, whatever part of the globe you are this time listening to the #1 internet station around, CCV Radio. My name is Leon George, and with me tonight is my two co-hosts, Larry McGray in St. Lucia, John Kelman in Barbados, and hopefully we expect to be joined by a teen later on who will give a teen's perspective on the topic that we are going to be discussing tonight. Tonight, the topic is teenage dating. What age you should allow your teenage son or daughter to date? So, let me introduce my two co-hosts, and then we will play. We have a special picture we'd like to play for you tonight, and then we'll take a break and come back to the topic at hand tonight. So, in Barbados, we have John Kelman.
A very good evening. Yes, a very good evening, world. This is John out of Barbados.
Yeah, good evening. This is Aaron McRae out of the beautiful island of St. Lucia.
Okay, welcome. Thank you both. Well,
Yes,
as I said before, we get into the topic at hand tonight. We want to set the stage for a very interesting discussion. So therefore, we're going to play a special feature for you. We'll go for a break and then come back and kick the discussion off. Okay?
5 tips for teen dating. Most important, talk to your kids and teach respect. Dating is a time of social experimentation for teens. It's a time to test out which type of partners appeal to them, and how they can negotiate a romantic relationship. But it can also be a confusing time and a difficult time for parents too. Today contributor Dr. Gail Saltz, a psychiatrist with New York Presbyterian Hospital, has some advice. Teen dating can be a wonderful and fun time where self-confidence is built up, and dating techniques are learned. Teens also learn how to be both assertive and compromising, how to be giving to another and how to expect the same in return. All of this is a sort of practice session in order to find Mr. or Ms. Right. Unfortunately, too often teens start dating with no preparatory talks from their parents, and then they can get into trouble. According to Planned Parenthood, about 10% of teenage girls in the U.S. become pregnant before age 20. And the U.S. Attorney General reports that 38% of date rape victims are girls between the age of 14 and 17. Talk to your children. Teach them how to date, how to have respect for one another, and how to protect themselves from emotional and physical hurt. Here are some more tips. 1. Be a good role model. Your relationship with your partner is a model for how your teen will behave with others. Your relationship for your child speaks far louder than anyone's words. Show them how you compromise, stick up for yourself, give and expect respect, and argue but love your spouse. 2. Tell them to listen to their inner voice. Help them pay attention to the voice inside that says, I'm uncomfortable in this situation and don't want to do this. Teach them to trust their judgment. Tell them how to avoid unwanted sexual advances. Tell your sons that having sex does not make them a man, and tell your daughters that having sex does not make them cool. 3. Warn them about the danger signs. Being manipulated, verbally put down, pushed or slapped, and kept isolated from other relationships are all signs of an abusive relationship. Make sure both your son and daughter understand that, and that they should come to you or another parent/teacher/counselor if they feel at all threatened or oppressed by their boyfriend or girlfriend. 4. No means no. Tell them they need to be honest and clear in communications. I'm not sure from a girl can mean I just need to be pushed or pressured some more before I say yes to her date. Tell girls to say no clearly and firmly. Tell boys if they hear no then proceeding anyway is rape. 5. Have the sex talk. Make them think seriously about what sexual intimacy really means to them. Tell boys they are not expected to try a million different ways to get sex. Tell girls that they do not need to have sex to keep a guy. Tell them that oral sex and anal sex are sex. Many kids are having these forms of sex because they tell themselves it's not really sex. First tell them they shouldn't be having sex yet. Then tell them about contraception and sexually transmitted diseases. You hope they will wait to have sex, but if they don't, it's best that they protect themselves. Let them talk privately with their doctor so they can get what they need to take care of themselves. Encourage them to come to you with any question or conflict. Try to be open to discussing it, rather than lecturing them. You want them to listen to your opinion, yet at the same time feel they are making up their own mind.
Tell it as it is, with your hosts, Leon George and Leary McRae.
Real talk, real issues.
Welcome back to CCV Radio, the #1 internet station around today. And again, my name is Leon George, and with me tonight on this topic that we are going to discuss on the line is John Kelman out of Barbados, the beautiful island of Barbados, and Larry McGray in St. Lucia. Yes, so we are discussing tonight teenage dating. This is a topic that we all have to deal with sometimes. It's going to confront us, all of us sometimes, most of us who are parents, it's going to confront us sometimes whether we want to deal with it or not. So I'm going to let my two co-hosts have the first bite of the cherry. I think I should start with Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to give...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just saying if you ready to give us your views on this topic we're going to discuss tonight.
Oh, sure. Well, as you said, the topic tonight is if you would allow your daughter to date, to date, or teenage pregnancy, you said, right?
Teenage dating we're discussing.
Oh, teenage dating, that's right. Yeah, sure. Well, really, I don't see that's a problem. I mean, if you should have a child and she's a teenager and she's been dated, once she's in the age of consent.
Okay.
I really don't see the problem.
Mr. Kelman, do you want to have a crack at?
Yes. I believe I am seeing a little further into it than Larry is, because while it is a right, at the same time, I don't think I like how we're structuring the question, at what age. I don't like putting the emphasis on age. I think I rather like the question being like this: when or at what time would you consider a child ready to date? And the reason why I'm saying that is there is a possibility you may have, let's say, 3 children. Now, you know that one child is extremely responsible. That child could be 15 years of age. And you feel quite comfortable knowing the child, that this child can go on a date. You feel comfortable about it because you know the child. Now, you may have a child at 18 who does not show that sort of responsibility. And you have some hang-ups about this child, whether it be male or female, going out unsupervised and dating. Here is the problem that is likely to come about. If you make it a policy in your home that your teenagers can date at 15 because the first child went at 15, when it comes to the 18-year-old who is not showing responsibility and you hold back and there's some reservations, that can cause some sort of a rift between.
Tell it as it is, with your hosts, Leon George and Leary McRae.
Real talk, real issues.
Yes, welcome Welcome back. Welcome back to Tell It Like It Is. We want to apologize for that technical ditch that we had yesterday. These things are so unpredictable. We can never tell how technology could behave sometimes. So we want to get right back to the topic at hand. And while we had that technical ditch a while ago. John, you were making a point. For listeners' sake, you could start from the beginning again to make that point, please.
Yes, okay, fine business. Now, we were saying that I was making the point that I would, instead of asking at what age that children, these teenagers should start dating, I would prefer to say at what time would it be reasonable for these children, time rather than age. And the reason why I'm saying that, if you mention age, and let's say you had 3 children, it becomes policy almost when you give an age, so that the first child, whom you may consider quite responsible, you say, well, at 15, you're 15, you can go dating. But the second child might now be as old as 18 and still not showing the responsibility as exhibited by the other child. And therefore, you may not want to let that child go dating because you've got some hiccups and you don't feel comfortable about the way they perform. Now, that is going to cause a rift between those 2 children, because the second child is going to be say, when she was 15, you allowed her to go dating. Now I'm 18 and you don't want me to go. And it could cause, they could meet each other at right angles. So to avoid that, I would say not an age, but when that child shows a measure of responsibility, that I feel comfortable letting that child go out unsupervised. So I would say that when the child is showing that measure of responsibility, then is when I think that they are ready to go dating. But prior to that, I don't think I would feel comfortable if the child is irresponsible and going out there unsupervised. Of course, it would mean that there would be a constant dialogue between parent and child, so that you can be talking to the children about what they will meet, the pitfalls out there when you start dating. What about if you're still at school and you go dating and you develop a relationship with someone, then you discover that they are seeing someone else and you develop a jealousy over it, it is going to interfere with your schoolwork. Nothing hurts worse than a heartbreak. So I think when the child is able to manage and take care of those pitfalls, then is when it would be considered they can go dating. It isn't a matter that I'm saying from an authoritarian personality point of view, I am your father or mother and I say so. No, I am seeing you being ready when certain criteria are met, and not just because you make 15, you can go dating now. That's how we see it.
Well, I've listened to you, but the thing about it, when someone reaches the age of 18, in most countries in the Caribbean and throughout the world, 18 years is when you take responsible for your own destiny. Your parents now does not have any legal right over you again. So if a child is 18, your child is 18 now, most you could say is what you will want in this house or what you don't want in your house. But in terms of what decisions the child wants to make, do you know that the child could make his own decision now at the age of 18? Now, having said that, I want to say that I quite agree with you. It should not be at what age. It should be when you think that your child should date. Now, having said that, teens need to learn many things whilst traveling through the life of adolescent stages, right? And it is normal. It is quite normal for your child to want to date. he or she to want to date. Having said that, girls normally will want to date more at a more earlier age, because in terms like, I don't know if the developmentation in the hormones and so on, I don't know if it probably take if it develop more faster in girls and such. But you see, in the hormonal changes in the body take place as early as 8 years old. But the physical signs in a child's life, in adolescence, is really take place between that 13 to 19 period there, that adolescent stage here. You will have kids talking about girlfriends and boyfriends as early as 6 and 7 years, and just, most of it might be curiosity. But as they grow older, it will always be there. And there's no question about that. Your teenager will want to date. And that is perfectly normal. Nothing is wrong with that. Now, there is where you come in as a parent to step up to the plate and impart all your parenting skills in a situation like that. Now, dating is not a bad thing. It's not. It can be a good thing. No, dating also have consequences. If people date without the proper knowledge and the right reasons for dating, why do you want to date? You're 14 years old. Why do you want to date? That will be my question to my child. And when we having this conversation, it will not be a lecture to my child. It will be a give and take conversation. It will be like, I'll be like a friend, a father, and everything. Now, I want to know why you want it. Do you want to date because you see your friends dating? Do you want to date because you think it's cool and you want to fit in? Everybody else dating and you're not doing it? This is the reason why you want dating? Why you want to date? And then we will develop a rapport from this. Now, the positive side of dating, I think people can learn to share. You can learn responsibility. You can learn how to give and take and how to handle situations in dating. But you will want your son or daughter to date someone with the kind of values that you impart in your own child. You wouldn't want them to date anybody. So therefore you will definitely talk to them and let them know that you will be for their, you will rather that they don't date, but you will be there for them no matter what. Even if to come and pick them up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you would come and do it as a parent who is there for them. When they're dating, you also look out for signs of abuse, mental and physical abuse, because believe it or not, teens go through these things in dating. Not only big adults in the 30s and so on have this sort of abuse in relationship. Teens who date, many of them have abusive relationships. And people might think this is uncommon. So you look out for all these things. You hope, when you try to start a date, you hope for the best. But you prepare yourself for the worst. But you must let a child know that you will be always there for them, because they will want to date. They will have interest in dating. Like I said, girls maybe want to date a little earlier, will be interested a little earlier than the boys, So therefore, dating rarely becomes an issue. But the bigger issue tonight, in situations like these, is your parenting skills. Your parenting skills is going to come in situations like this. This is where I said before, you step up to the plate and you unleash all your parenting skills. You're definitely going to need them. Now, you don't learn to date in a classroom. Definitely. So therefore, you go around and you see other people doing it and they want to do it also. Again, where the adults come in, your parents, uncles and so on, talk to the teens about it. Because it's not something they will learn in the classroom. They can share the experience with them and all of that. So dating in itself, why is that maybe the issue, but the bigger issue is how you handle the situation when you have to face it from your son or daughter.
May I interject here, George?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. No, I wasn't aware that we had got that far. You see, I thought we were looking firstly at the age or at what time dating is permissible. But I didn't really get into the functioning of dating and the resulting of that and what you will incur and how preparation for dating. I was looking at what time really you would feel comfortable letting your child go a dating.
That's right.
That's why I feel that's where we are at the moment. But but moving on to what you're coming with is beautiful, but I think that's a little ahead of us.
Right.
That we're going into that now, you see? But we were concentrating on the time that the child now has the autonomy to go out now dating. We can look at dating and what it entails, but we were looking firstly at what time the child can know. And I certainly wasn't talking about 18 up inside there, because that is not the sort of child that you are now training. That child should already have had the relationship and the good rapport between the parent-child relationship should already been established. I was talking about the younger child, 12 through 14. See what I mean? At that time, we know they would want to go dating, but how comfortable do you feel about your 12, 13, 14-year-old going on a date? That's where I thought we were at.
Yes, I quite agree, and I understand what you're saying. Yes. But I think in many instances, parents would not wish that their children date. They will only allow it because they believe that is a natural thing in life, and they may have no choice. And in times whether the child is 18, once that child is under their roof, or that child is not, some people believe that dating again you should only date if you intend to get married. Unfortunately,
yes,
right. Some people hold right, and many people hold that value. Western societies believe you should date for experience. Why should you date? Because it gives you experience, and I think I alluded to that earlier on. Because you will learn how to deal with certain kinds of conflicts and so on, and how to deal with certain life situations. But in some cultures, you are not allowed to date unless the intention is to get married.
As a matter of fact, in some cultures, your spouse is chosen for you.
Right.
Correct.
See, in certain cultures, your spouse is chosen for you by your parents. You see, but we here, and especially we in the Caribbean, it isn't like that. It isn't like that. So we want to concentrate really on how do we deal with it in our own culture here at home. I mean, you've got young children, and mark you, the what they see on the television has a great impact on them as well. Apart from the physical urges which we would have had, our libido, when we were growing up, the children have got other motives now, and there are other prompters that would push them on. No, they sit and watch the television screen, they watch love stories on the thing, and they watch the imported cultures of other places, and that pushes them into a field that we never reached.
True.
You see?
Larry, you want to come in here because there's something I want to respond to John, but Larry, you want to come in here before I just want to say?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Well, according to what John said earlier, I think he was just taking a little bit too far, but really and truly, when you're talking about dating, well, as I told you earlier, if the child is the age of consent, I will allow that child. I'm not saying that's a problem allowing that child dating or something, but I will refer that statement because according to John earlier, I would agree with him. I mean, if I see this child is really ready to date because listen, you're not just going on dates. I mean, having a relationship with someone. I mean, I think my daughter or whether my son, they should be prepared mentally and also physically to get into any relationship with someone.
Is the situation that we most likely face with at times is that, and no parents or parent will like to know their 14-year-old is going out there and having sex. And from the time you talk about dating, that's the first thing come to mind. You're going out, you're going to be alone with this person that you're going out with. And whether we like it or not, sex will come to mind. And most a 14-year-old will definitely would not want to date a 14-year-old. In most cases, a 14-year-old want to date an 18-year-old.
You mean a 14-year-old girl?
Girl, yeah. Yes, you're correct. Thank you for that correct. Yeah. In terms of that, a 14-year-old girl want to date an 18-year-old, I should say an 18-year-old man. Yeah. In most cases. And it's unlikely. Many parents will not be comfortable with situations like that. Now, right. But because they know, look, if I don't allow this, or I can't get my daughter to understand that this is not the right thing or not the right time for you to date. You're just 14 years old, you're still in school. If you get into a serious relationship now, there's going to be serious consequences in terms of your education and all of that getting set back.